future, adventure, and a little more. Welcome to the magic of the Baja Show.
Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to Baja Uncover, the JT Meadows podcast. I'm your host, JT Meadows, and this is pretty cool. We're in Baja de Concepcion, just south of Mulegé, and we are talking with one of the most iconic and what many say probably the best desert racer of all times, Larry Ragland. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm great, JT. Glad you're here.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here too. It's a nice sunny day on the bay, and man, I could probably sit here for hours and hours, but I'm sure we probably shouldn't do that. But I want to talk to you about some amazing things. Obviously, starting off, you've been in the racing game since the 70s, right?
Since the mid 70s.
Yeah. And how old were you when you first started racing?
I was old enough to just start to make a little money and could buy my first motorcycle.
Really?
A dirt bike, and started racing that in 1975, just in local Arizona races.
And was your family involved in
Not
racing
at all.
at all back
No,
then?
that's why it took so long for me to get something. My dad never even allowed me to ride a scooter.
Really?
As a kid, I couldn't have anything motorized.
Wow.
Nothing. No go-kart, no anything.
Holy cow.
And so until I had my own money, and the first thing I bought was a dirt bike.
Yeah.
And within a month, I thought, well, I need to go race.
Yeah.
And entered my first race just as a novice, and
Wow.
started there.
And what was it that motivated you? Like, I mean, you had seen racing and you're like, man, I really want to do that.
I didn't even, as a little kid, I lived in Colorado in a really small town, 60 people in the grade school through high school. But from then, I can remember pushing my younger brother around in a little, a little buggy, and they had little front wheels that would turn, and I could picture sideways, pushing, sliding with him, till my dad busted me for doing it in the gravel.
Yeah.
But I knew that feeling without ever knowing what a race car ever even was.
Wow.
We lived on a little dairy farm.
Really?
And so I was always intrigued by it, and I have no idea why, other than I just love going sideways.
Yeah, I love going sideways.
On a bicycle. Once I got a bicycle and slide that rear wheel and slide her in. Yeah, that's all I'd do.
You throw your foot in the back of the wheel, stop it up, and skid out just a little bit.
It was just innate in some form. I don't know how come. I was not exposed to it in any way.
Wow. And how old were you when you first did your first race?
My first race came really when I bought that. I had raced a little bit before that, and I wanted to be a race driver, and I bought a sports car, an old Formula 3 car. That after I got, I did probably maybe 8 races, but I had no money.
Mm-hmm.
No money, and I could see no future whatsoever, and I had to build my own motor, rebuild it. And one time I just thought, you know what, no good's going to come of this. I couldn't drive it. I was worried about RPMs and not blowing it up.
Do you remember your first win?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
What race was that?
I remember all your wins.
Yeah. Do you remember your first loss? Who was your first race?
I don't remember. Yeah, I do remember my first loss. I mean, it just... In motorcycles, I started winning races right away, and not overall, but I was already 35 years old, so I think it was a class 30 to 40 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I dominated that, but I wasn't able to run with the kids or anything like that. I could still run reasonably well.
Yeah.
But I could win those races. And then a good friend a motorcycle dealer who I bought my new Huskies from each year, he said, hey, I just came back from the Mint. And he'd gotten a ride in a single-seat buggy at the Mint, and he says, Larry, we got to buy one of those. And so he and I bought our first Funko, and our very first race was the Baja 500.
Your very first race?
That's the only race I'd been to. I'd been to motorcycle races in Arizona, just local things, but not to, and showed up in Ensenada. Coco ran the rope at the Baja Hotel, and that's where we parked the very first race because that was race headquarters. And that's when the first time I met Coco.
And how did you do in that race?
7th overall.
7th over your first time in Baja.
First time in the car.
Had you experienced anything like that off-road on
Nope.
the north side of the border? Ever?
No, I'd always wanted to be a sprint car driver.
Really?
I mean, I thought that'd be the best. And I went to sprint car races for years.
Wow.
Just as soon as I got off work on a Saturday night, I'd run down to Manzanita Speedway and jump the fence and get to watch the main event or something like that. No, when I got in the car, I got in Ojos Negros. My partner did the first lap, and then the second lap I did. We did 2 identical laps. And when I got in it, I'd never really driven the car other than a 2 or 3 mile test session. And we loaded up our bikes in the car and went to Ensenada to race. And I got in it and started racing, and it was a dream come true. I excelled at it right off the bat. And it was just so natural, and life didn't get better.
And was the terrain, I mean, riding off-road down here versus riding in, say, Nevada or Arizona, is it a big difference, or was it an easy thing to...
Not really. I think the terrain's always a little different or whatever, but the desert and I'd only motorcycle raced, really, so I didn't have much of a comparison. But I remember leaving Ojos and going up toward, I don't remember what the name of it is now, Arroyo, and then making a right and then going over to Nuevo Junction. And it was just unbelievable. I thought, I am living the dream.
What was like the most difficult part about it? I mean,
nothing.
You were just ready to go.
There was nothing about it that I didn't like.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I got to pre-run on a motorcycle, and then a couple of days later, you're in the race car, and I have Malcolm Smith in front of me, and a couple names. That was when Malcolm and who was the other one that were Scoop Vessels and Bob Gordon, because they were in those little Blazers. And it was phenomenal. I couldn't believe that we were actually doing it. I'd read about the race for a few years. Well, that would have to be the newest thing ever, was to go down there. I'd thought about doing it on a motorcycle, but I had no way of knowing how to do it, or I didn't know anybody that did it. And we bought a car and went and did it. And then we raced that and the 1,000 and did all right, finished in the top 10 in that. And then, so our third race was Parker. We won that overall. Second race was San Felipe. We won that overall.
Wow.
And nobody knew who we were.
Yeah. And did you have sponsors at that time?
No,
were you guys self-funding?
Self-funded.
Really?
Yeah. That's why we split it half and half. And
yeah.
We went and bought brand new Funko and a brand new Type 1 from Fat Performance, and we went racing.
Yeah. And then, so after your first race, I mean, are you just like, you're itching for that next, you're itching for that 1,000.
You cannot wait for the next race to come. I mean, you just want to do it as often as you can. And we just did the score races.
Wow.
But my partner, after a year, he really had his own business and was really busy, and he just said he couldn't really afford it anymore. And so I bought him out, and then I did it the next 4 years on my own.
And so you were the main driver?
Yeah, I became driver. We both shared driver record each race.
Yeah.
I'd do it, and then he'd do it, and then I'd do it for that 1 year.
And you've won the 1,000 overall 5 times.
5 times.
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
And how many in class? Like overall?
Oh, overall, how many in our class? Well, in those days, we had a lot in our class. I mean, class 1 was really big, and class 2 was really big, and they were kind of combined. Just you had single driver or 2 people in it or 1 person in it.
Yeah.
But it was all considered one class.
And what year was your first 1,000 win?
I didn't win the 1,000. It took forever till 1991.
Wow.
11 years, and I think, to me, I think I may have at one point led the race every year almost, but never could put it together. Either I messed up or the car mechanical. I would DNF it every year. And I just could never. I was probably driving above my skill level. I mean, after we won those first 2 races, then that's what happened to us. We thought, well, this is so easy.
Yeah.
And we didn't. The following year, I won the Baja 500 the first time. So
the first
82.
Yeah.
By myself.
That was your first big win?
By myself.
By yourself. Yeah. What's the feeling like? I mean, you've been chasing it, you've been doing it, you win your first big race. were you just like, okay, let's keep going,
Well,
let's
yeah, no,
go,
I
let's
was
do?
I was so into it that it didn't matter whether I was winning or breaking or whatever. I just wanted to
You
do
just
it.
wanted to do it.
And then I think, as I used to call it, you become more Baja wise as time goes on, and you start thinking, maybe I am driving above my skill level or whatever. I'm not finishing,
Yeah,
and the fun goes away if you start DNFing,
yeah.
and it's not much fun if you're not really doing well.
Hmm.
So then I started, I think, becoming more Baja wise and trying, and it was really, I still consider quite, a thinking race. I mean, you can't you can't be Baja stupid.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're Baja stupid, I don't care how fast you are, it really doesn't do you much good when you get to the end.
yeah.
I
What do
mean,
you mean by Baja stupid? I mean,
just
my
make
Baja stupid is things I've done in Tijuana before, but we're
no,
talking
mine
racing.
are just mistakes in the racing, going too fast in certain sections, maybe going too slow in certain sections, but I used to have a feeling, when everything's going well, you can do no wrong and you throw it in there and you make that vehicle go exactly where you want it to go.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, you go, what happened? Well, you probably went in a little too fast, whatever. Big rock, you couldn't avoid it in time. You always have to leave a little something on the table.
yeah,
And I figure you get about maybe up to 5 big moments. Well, one of those big moments is going to catch you. I remember Ivan Stewart telling me one time, he says, Larry, I get in there. He says, my goal is to go all the way down there and not ever get a tire out of place. I'm going to stay in the tracks.
yeah,
And that becomes your goal. But at some point, you're someone may be doing a better job than you are, and you got to pick it up, but never in the first half of the race.
yeah.
You got to maintain and be there, but you don't have to try to run away from them.
Have you ever had a race where, I mean, like when we were just at the 250, I know a couple people fell out even within the first couple miles. Have you ever had any situations like that where early, maybe not the first couple
Or
miles, but early in the race that,
only a few, and
yeah,
those would have been, I think, always probably a mechanical problem. Something wasn't right, bad prep, whatever it may have
yeah,
been. But yeah, but my goals, first 100 miles, I remember as 30 years ago, was just to try to go that um, first 100 miles and just keep your place in line. You can't afford to get a flat in the first 100 miles, or you can recover later on. But if like now the old parade goes by,
just because it's so tight
yeah,
at
it's
that
so
beginning
tight.
100 miles
Yeah,
that,
we didn't used to be able to change the tire in 30 seconds.
yeah, you didn't have jacks that popped
We
out of the
didn't have
bottom
all that,
of the car,
and
right?
you go down, you're going to be there a while, and 20 cars can go by,
Yeah,
and you've really it's difficult from that point on.
and
So
you just get deflated.
once you're going, and all of a sudden, oh, there's one guy, you start keeping count, how many start in front of you, and you go, I've only got 4 of them.
Yeah,
I'll just keep inching away here. No one's got me. And you don't know what's happening in front, but you're maintaining.
because back then, you didn't really have like, did you have comms back then?
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
I don't even remember when we first got radios, but no, when we started, there were no radios.
so there's no like, hey, you got,
No,
so and so a mile up ahead of you, watch out for
we,
this, or
we had no communication with the chase trucks. We had stuck stabs.
yeah,
If you
stuck
have
stamp,
stuck tabs.
stuck
In other words,
tabs.
in your little driver kit, they give you a couple of them, and you write your car number on there, where you're at, and you give it to the next car that goes by. You don't know
Really?
this?
No, I
No,
don't.
stuck tabs.
That's
No,
like the racing version of carrier pigeons
no.
back in the
Well,
day.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I can remember my first time I broke down above Mike's Sky Ranch, just topping over, and the next person by, and I was first on the road. Next person by was Bob Gordon and the Blazer, and I give him the stuck tab. He stops, and I hand it to him, and he takes it the way he goes. But it tells what I need. I need a new axle and CV, and I broke down, 12 miles north of Mike's Sky Ranch on the
Wow.
course.
Wow.
And they're supposed to give it to the next checkpoint. Of course, that never happened.
Yeah.
You forget completely.
Right.
You just take and put it in there, but
I mean, you got so much on your head and behind the wheel,
well,
right?
yeah, he's leading the race now, and he's not worried about my stuck tab.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that was how they would find you. They can see he reported in at the last checkpoint, and then you have to work backwards.
Yeah. And now, you're driving the Riviera truck, right?
Mhm.
And obviously you got all the tech in the world. You got helicopters, you got
Everything.
GPS, you
Yeah.
got Starlink. Do you prefer that now
No,
over
not at
back in
all.
the day?
Not at all.
No?
No,
So you would
no.
take the
I
old
mean,
school.
yeah, that's because I'm old. But you always, that's it's just different.
Yeah.
I mean, now it used to be really pre-running was very important, and you got to spend a lot of time doing that. And like Robbie Gordon, Rob McCracken, myself, I mean, Ivan, we'd be down there pre-running
Yeah.
before the race, and we were all paid to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we did. But now the pre-running's half the race. I mean, it's so sophisticated and everything that's just, I
Plotted
mean, you
out
could
and
you could literally kind of do it without much pre-running. With the notes are so good,
yeah.
GPS so good that there's no surprises.
Yeah.
That you just don't have surprises. Where before you could remember danger spots. Like in 1,000, I may have 10 or 12
Like
that I
recollect.
considered that I could get sucked into.
Yeah.
Middle of the night, can't see it very well, and I have to mark it in some way because I won't be able to recognize it to
Yeah.
know that it looks safe, but it really isn't.
Yeah.
The arrow's going to come too late. So
And you got so much
it's
you're
all
focusing
different.
on. Yeah.
I love Nora because, and even it's a little sophisticated. At least you have a pink line, and you can go there and tell you the pink line. Anyway, you're going to have this, this, this. And I go, I love just racing what you could see.
Yeah.
I didn't mind. I would love no pre-running. And they said, well, everybody will crash. And I said, no, they won't. They'll crash one time, and then they'll think,
And then they'll
I
remember.
got to leave a little bit on the table for
Right.
that next turn. I have to have a little margin for error.
Yeah.
It may be blind over that rise. It may not, although it has a tight right, you go. So no, I think it was more fun in the old days. And plus it wasn't quite so serious, but once I signed up with General Motors, it's become serious because you have so many people depending upon you. You have such a big team and a lot of volunteers, and everybody builds the motors.
Yeah.
VFG. I raced on VFGs forever.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
did you I mean, you go from being somewhat self-sustained and funded to now you got a big corporation who's expecting that win. I mean, did that pressure change your thought process at all?
Well, yeah, I raced my Class 1 buggy. I built one, the first one, then I built one more, real successful in both of those. And that's after 5 years of racing. And that time I'm going, you know what, I'm spending a lot of money, which was $6,000 a race. Back in 1985 or so, that was a lot of, I'm spending
people
a lot
would
of
take
money.
that hand over fist today. Right?
My business is doing real well and I can afford it, but it was hard to really kind of justify. And I thought, and then I was in process of not finishing well and just getting discouraged. I thought, you know what, I think I'll quit. And it really is at that time when I got a call from General Motors out of the wild blue. I'm just sitting at home and get a call.
Just happened at the perfect time
and
too.
They said, yeah, would you like to drive a race? Yeah, we're going to get involved, or we are getting involved. If you want to talk to us about being a driver. And I said, anyway, then I find out it's a Class 7 truck, and I go, I'm not. I told him no, and I says, hey, I've been racing for the overall since I started.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back and be in a Class 7, and told them no. And then a few weeks later, they call back and, are you sure? By then, I'd been a little remorseful about saying no. And I go, well, maybe. And I said, what are your plans? And then we went into it, and they said, well, we plan on building a truck that will win overall.
That's what you wanted to hear.
What's your time frame? They said, within 5 years. And they asked me then, how long do you think you'll be able to drive? Because I think I'm 80, so I'm 43 years old. So I said, I want to be able to race until I'm 50. That's my goal. I'd like, so like I said, I got about 3 years and they're going to build an overall truck. Maybe I can do it again. So I said yes. And that's why I drove Class 7 for 5 years.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be a wonderful relationship with General Motors.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a race that I didn't enjoy, whether we did bad or good or whatever. Team was always fun, provided really good equipment, and it was never a giant team, but it was a good team.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so you said you planned to make it till 50, and I don't want to give any secrets
Yeah.
away here, but you're a couple of years over 50 now.
Yeah, I'm a few over 50. I drove for General Motors really for almost 20 years, so
Yeah.
I blew right by that.
Now, during that time, I mean, did you ever think like I'm done? I mean,
No,
because you're
no. It was like now I'd always wanted to be a race driver.
uh-huh.
I'd always not knowing what form, but sprint car driver.
Yeah.
And then off road, it just fit me perfect. It was
Yeah.
just what I liked and enjoyed, and it was fun. I mean, when I used to get in there, I couldn't wait to get in that car. And it was still with General Motors. They came along, and all of a sudden, they said, how much would you like to get paid? And I went, paid. And I'm thinking about quitting anyway.
Yeah.
I said, paid. And it said, yeah. And I said, well, how about $2,000 a race? And they went, sold.
Yeah.
So they signed me up, and that was my paycheck, and I had to pay for my own pre-running. And that's all the two was for, was to pay for pre-running.
Basically, so you weren't out of pocket for the
Not
race.
out of pocket. And then involved in something very good. But
Yeah.
that's how it all started. But then all of a sudden, all I had to do was show up eventually, I just show up with a helmet bag and driver's suit. And then by then I had my own plane. I fly in Soggy Dry Lake and land on the lake bed and do a functions test a couple weeks before. And I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
There was all the hard work was done.
Yeah.
And no, it was a great life. I mean, and really fun for me because I did it for really the fun of doing it and not because I needed the paycheck.
Yeah.
I just got to do it with no pressure, and it was a wonderful.
How do you feel the level of competition is from the 80s and 90s to compared to today?
I don't know. Everybody always, the level of competition. It's all relative to that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same then as it was now in a way, but obviously there's evolved through the vehicles are so much better, and there's no comparison. The race courses are different. They're rougher now.
Yeah.
You don't have the roads down here really were just so nice. San Felipe just used to be so much fun. I mean, it had some whoops and stuff, and it had Matomi, it had all the washes, but you didn't have so much cross grain because the cars really couldn't do it. But they didn't have 42-inch tires on there digging holes all day long,
eating it up, yeah.
And so it's changed in that way. But I think drivers are. I mean, I don't think there's been any difference in drivers getting faster. I think if we'd had comparable equipment then, we would have gone as fast as they go now.
Yeah.
We were older, so like now, I know we race against younger people, but they're still, I mean, you got Rob McCracken, you got Robbie Gordon, you have all these guys. Yeah, myself, I still feel like I certainly don't run the speed that they run now, but I feel like I'm better than probably most in that race. I mean, even though with age, but I can still do it, but not. First of all, your mentality is different. The heart beats a little higher, and you go, I'm not sure the reward's going to be worth the risk here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be kind of the opposite. You'll risk a little bit more to get that reward.
Yeah.
Because you'll recover better. But now, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be the Baja stupid. So in order to do that, you got to back it down a little bit. So, mentally, I know I'm not prepared to do that, but I can still, my skill level is still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel it's slower. Reflexes are slower, and I can feel that. And I know when I'm driving bad. I mean, I can, if that track doesn't go where I want it to go, then I can see what my plan is. I mean, I want to hit the apex right there. I'm going to leave a little cushion in case there's a big rock on the inside. I can scoot out, or if it tightens up, I can gather it up again. So always thinking, and that's what Baja wise.
And you have to be. I mean, you let your eyes off the road and off the.
You have to, and I stay focused to the point where that's a problem because we have such good navigators now and that, and I have to tell them when we start out, especially with these really good navigators now that are used to riding with younger guys. And I said, now, if I'm not listening, you got to, because I'm going to zone you out.
Yeah.
But unconsciously, I says, I'm going to start reading that terrain and I'm going to do it on my own. And I says, I know to pick it up a little bit, I need to be listening because
Right.
you're going to, I have to trust you. You're going to let me know
Yeah,
when
for
that
sure.
tightens up. I know it's coming. I just don't know exactly when.
Yeah.
So you're going to let me know you're there.
So you say, like, I mean, with these vehicles, I mean, some of them, I won't ask the cost, but I know some of these vehicles are a mil and a half,
Yeah.
plus the helicopter, plus the teams, plus the catering services, plus the plus.
If you live in Baja or travel south of the border, you already know having Mexican insurance is the law. That's why I personally trust Ride Baja Mexican Insurance for all of my insurance needs. From homes, cars, motorcycles, motorhomes, UTVs, and boats, they make protecting my assets easy. Visit www.ridebaja.com and get a policy in minutes. Or better yet, give them a call and experience the Ride Baja difference. One of the reasons I love Ride Baja is because they're the only insurance broker open nights and weekends to truly support you. They're available 24/7 for claims, towing, roadside assistance, and real help when you need it. Get the Ride Baja Mexican Insurance today and get covered right.
Like, what would you say, like, let's say the Baja 1000, what's an average cost for a race team of your guys' caliber to run that race?
Truthfully, I can't really tell you because I haven't written any of those checks.
Yeah.
And I don't ask them.
Good point.
I don't ask them.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
And probably more so than what most people would even think. Let's face it, it's a wealthy man's sport to win the race.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you can't show up on a much smaller budget on your own and have a lot of volunteers and a lot of help, and you can run with them a little bit. But to win the race, you got to be able to just think that it doesn't matter how much it costs. I'm gonna have to say this motor because I got 2 more in the shop.
Yeah.
We can put in there right away or whatever, and it's different. It's just different, and that's a shame of it. That it's got so sophisticated and expensive.
Yeah.
But when I did it, it was kind of the same because we had General Motors, Ford, Dodge, Jeep, Toyota. They were all paying for it then, and it got too expensive for them.
Yeah.
There's no way. That's what General Motors told me. So we can't justify the budget that it's going to take. Toyota was spending much more than what General Motors was, and that's who we were
competing against.
They wanted to beat Toyota, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
So same thing, just different people paying for it now. But
yeah. And it's not, I mean, when you see the prize that comes from it, it's not about the prize.
You can't justify
it's not about the money prize.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what you want to relate it to. It still doesn't get enough coverage to really benefit what it costs you to do it. I think the being able to film all the action down that is really great because you can get a really broader audience.
Right.
Because everybody can ride in those trucks and you start to get really a feel for what's going on between the camera looking out the front, out the back, at the drivers, at the flat tire change. It's pretty, I mean, I get excited watching them,
Yeah.
I also get bored sometimes, but you can move around and you can ride with somebody else, or whatever, they have enough live streaming that you can, it's fun.
Yeah.
My wife can ride in the chase truck with a laptop in front of her and just know exactly what's going on.
Where you're at, what's going on.
Where you're at, whether you're moving, not moving, or losing ground, gaining ground, whatever.
So what's your opinion on we're talking about all the cameras and the technology and the fact that maybe there isn't as much exposure as a lot of people think there should be. How do you feel about, I've heard about a couple shows, but one specifically that's in the works to bring in some like A-list actors and things like that to learn, train, compete, and then like a reality show to then race in the Baja 1000. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I wouldn't have an opinion on it.
No?
To me, it wouldn't excite me.
But do you think that could be good for the overall exposure of the sport?
Well, people will follow famous people.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're doing it, they're gonna bring a huge following on their own.
Yeah.
Automatically. I
Right.
mean, it's going to be a lot of exposure,
Right.
and if that's what they want. But to me, no matter what, off-road racing was more of probably a grassroots type of racing
Mm-hmm.
than any other, and by also being probably one of the most difficult forms of motorsports there is. I think,
On the planet.
yes, I
Yeah.
mean, people don't realize it until you get involved in it. Just what it takes. I took Rick Hendricks one year at Soggy Dry Lake from NASCAR, and this is right. Robbie Gordon had just started going to NASCAR, and we're out on Soggy Dry Lake, and I've landed there, and I'm doing my functions test, and all of a sudden a group of like 5 motorcycles pull up, and then following them as a quad, and they surround the transporter there and start just looking at it, and then John Nelson's dad comes over to me and he goes, "Larry, I think that's Rick Hendricks." And I go, "Well, he was on the quad."
Mm-hmm.
And so I walked over and asked him, I says, "Are you Rick Hendricks?" And he goes, "Yeah." And anyway, he had just brought his kids and a couple of their friends, flew them out North Carolina to go. He knew a motorcycle dealer, and they were going for a motorcycle ride. One way or the other, he gets in the truck. John Nelson says, "Hey, better take him for a ride with you." So he gets in there, and I haven't really talked to him at all. They buckle him in, and away we go. And I have a little 18-mile loop that I do. It takes about 18 minutes. I mean, it's just that's always the same identical functions test where I test everything on the truck to make sure that it's just right.
Yeah.
And I'll do 3 or 4 laps of that. And so I know it just absolutely perfect. So I've been around it hundreds of times. So I take him on my typical deal. And I mean, to me, it's very boring because I've done it so many times. But it has silt beds in it. It has some jumps in it. It had a little bit of everything. I mean,
everything for the full
Class
rounded
8 truck
test.
when we're doing really well, winning lots of races. And so we pull in. I look over because there's no communication the whole time. And he's slouching the seat over there, heads down, and just trying to get his breath.
Just so excited.
So excited.
Wow.
So excited. And they lower the net and start talking to him. And he just said, he says, "I've raced lots of things." He'd done drag racing on the stock cars. And I don't know. He said, done lots of things. But he says, "I would have not ever believed it." And then he says, "Now I know where Robbie Gordon learned how to drive." Because Robbie just won his first NASCAR race on one of the short tracks.
Yeah.
And he says, "Now I know how he learned how to drive."
I would think on NASCAR, you get a little bored just going around in circles. The road never changes,
To me, it's quite boring.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still hard. It's not that it's not hard to do.
Of course.
Extremely technical, and it comes down to the smallest little movements, and it's just trying to, it's all relative. When you're doing it, the speed is and you're going into that turn about a half a mile difference in speed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going off of him, and there's no excitement there.
Yeah.
You can lean into it. And that's why you look, well, it's just not, it's not that big a deal at that speed, unless you take your eyes off and start looking at the wall. Then you can start to realize when things go wrong, then you realize how fast you're really going.
Yeah.
But it's all different. But motorsports, I mean, off-road is very different. I'll always take an IndyCar driver, sports car, and we'll swap cars and see which one can adapt to the new sport the quickest.
You've done that multiple times?
No, I haven't. But
yeah.
I raced vintage Formula One in a Terrell, in an old 1981 Terrell, and go 180 miles an hour on Laguna Seca and Toronto. I did that for 1 year just for fun, strictly just as a friend owned the cars, and that's what I finally told him. I said, and I did well, but I certainly couldn't run with the guys that've been doing it. But I'm close. I'm better than half of the field,
considering you hadn't really jumped in that. Yeah,
but I said it's exciting, but truthfully, you just don't have that many big moments. Off-road race, you're going to have a couple big moments.
Oh, for sure.
No telling. I
Couple
don't care
shits,
if
right?
it's a burro jumping out in front of you, or a cow jumping out from the middle of the course, or a car stuck in the ditch. I said,
Something's
you're going to have
happen.
a big moment that you didn't know was coming.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I said, so, and you have to encounter each one of those. I said, you're confronted with those all day long.
Yeah.
Your big moment is going to be once you lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've already made your mistake and you're crashing.
And even if you pre-ran for a week,
it doesn't matter.
The elements are going to be different on race day.
It's just, I mean, you mix it up, but it's still, you're just in every turn is different.
Yeah.
Even if you pre-run it, you set up for it different, accidentally, whatever.
Yeah.
Just different kind of racing.
Different animal.
But motorsports, off-road, I think is still, and that's what Rick Hendricks kind of said. He said, I had no idea. They think we're out there doing a 4-wheel drive tractor pull or something, not really racing.
Yeah.
But it's, especially now, it's full-blown race.
It is.
It's not for the weak.
No, for sure. So for any, say, current race teams that are maybe don't have the same type of funding as a lot of the big guys, or maybe people considering getting into it and something that they would have to come down on their own and not have those sponsors, like what kind of advice can you give to those people to maybe not beat Larry Ragland, but to compete?
Well, I'm a firm believer in NORA, but NORA itself is changing. I mean, it's becoming, you just would have to pick a class and run with it, but everything's keep evolving, and off-road racing just isn't like what it used to be. I mean, you still got some of the smaller organizers that put them on, and those are what you might be limited to, because it becomes just entry fees, pretty expensive for a lot of people.
And they just went up, I think, too. I was seeing that this year.
I don't even know.
Yeah, you don't write that check.
I haven't had to pay one for so long. I don't pay no attention to that. But I feel bad for a lot of those people, because it is, and it's hard to do because it takes so many people. It's not like you just go by yourself. You got to rely on a few volunteers, no matter what.
Yeah.
And you can. That's what I felt bad about bringing them, because you start using up your friends. You can see when they go, oh boy, not ready to do that again, and it's just difficult. There's not a good answer for that. How do I get started? I've had that, so many people ask me that, but mine was, wait until you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, if it's going to change the way you live in any way, do not spend your money on it. Go find something else to do.
Yeah.
I said, if you're going to sacrifice other things in life, and that's when, they want to know, well, how much they're going to cost me. And I said, you spend as much as you want, but don't spend any more than what pretend you're putting it on a fire.
Yeah.
Because you're going to burn up your money, and there's not going to be any return on it.
Like they say, you don't go to Vegas with more money than you want to lose.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
It's that simple.
Yeah.
That's simple. And if you have to make those kind of sacrifices, it's not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's why you see, kids with a family that can afford it funds them, and that's what you're up against. Even in a small class, they're going to start somewhere, and they're going to have more funding.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just, there's not a good answer.
Well, and that's a great answer, actually. That there is no good answer.
Yeah, I mean,
just don't overextend yourself. Don't mortgage your house to do it.
That's what I did originally when I wanted to finally thought, well, I'll be a sports car driver. That's when Dan Gurney was my hero. I want to be like Dan Gurney. And I better get a sports car and start learning, until I realized that for me to really do it, because I have to work for a living, I just can't go do it. And I couldn't afford it without sacrificing everything, all in the race car.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, I better try to. I looked at gas stations in those days where they had some type of a modified or a dirt track car parked out in the front there at the intersection. That's what they race on the weekend and that. And I go, if that's where I'm going to end up, if that's my life is just going to be having that old car out there racing once a week, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
I need to have fun at it and do it.
If you're not enjoying it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
Once it becomes work, it's not fun anymore.
It's a mental game. It's not easy.
Kind of a weird question to ask, but have you thought about when retirement is?
Well, yeah, probably every day. Yeah, I mean, what am I doing? I go, it's a catch-22. What do you do? I physically, I still feel like I can do it, and I don't know whether the co-writers are, oh, you're doing a great job, you can do it. And I go, I don't know whether to believe them or not. I'd rather rely. I mean, I know I still can go pretty good because I can catch people
Mm-hmm.
and and everything seems to function pretty good, and I'm amazed. And so, and I hate to leave the sport. It's like what I call, it's not a race coming up. I have a really big social event. It's a social event for me now, more so
Really?
than trying to win the little blue ribbon.
Yeah.
You want to go and compete, but I don't know. When I would retire, I basically, I mean, I figured I retired when I stopped getting paid to do it. I mean, that's
Right.
when I really, now I do it to go. I enjoy the team. Like we come down, I love the teams. The navigators and the camaraderie you have with everyone, and I love going to Baja. I love because I have so many fans, just because I've done it so long, and I've watched them grow from small to big and different age groups, and I can go here in Mulahay,
Mm-hmm.
and always there's going to be a local of some sort that's going to start. I see them point, trying to talk, and I go walk over and talk to them.
Yeah.
And they, are you Larry Ragland? And I go, no. And they go, then I smile and go, yeah. And
Yeah.
they go, and I guess it's really exciting. I mean, I love it.
You've probably seen some people that maybe you met even, 20, 30, 40 years ago and see them growing up now and they were a
kid from San Juanico where we used to always, if you still can't get your P-Mix, he comes out with a little stand, and I remember him as probably a 7 or 8 year old, and coming out and dragging that out for his dad, and his dad getting filling the pre-runners.
Wow.
Forever. And I watched him all the way through high school. He went to high school in Constitucion, and I guarantee you, the Friday, I'll do the Friday race, the big long day, the
Mm-hmm.
full day all the way down. He'll be at the finish line waiting when I get there.
Really?
Yeah, he'll be there.
And so that's something you look forward to.
And he's got to be, I don't know what he is, 50, 55 years old now.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
45 years ago.
That's amazing.
So
that's
he's
amazing.
probably 10. Yeah, he will be somewhere between 50 and 55.
Yeah, awesome.
And there'll be other ones that will come up with their phone, and it will have a picture from 30 years ago when I'm driving Class 8 and doing really well.
Yeah.
And it'll be them standing with me beside my race truck or something at contingency, and then they'll want to stop and do another picture, and then they'll have both of them on their phone.
Yeah.
From 30 years ago and now.
Wow.
So, no, I enjoy all the people. So, like I said, it's a big social event. I enjoy coming down. My wife and I built a nice home here now.
Beautiful.
So we'll spend
in a beautiful place. I won't give away the actual playa that we're in here, but
you can give it away. It's not a secret.
It is a beautiful place. We went to that fun party the other day on the beach. That was really cool. And but man, it's just so cool to see being in the game for so long. Your head is so in the game still.
No,
you love it.
That's why I love coming to Baja. I love being down here.
Yeah.
The same thing that I really felt like I had a natural skill level for just driving. I didn't go out and learn how or anything. It just worked.
You just did it.
I think I started off good, and I don't know that I ever got much better.
Yeah.
It just
maintained. You got better. You got better. You got smarter. You got sharp.
I got better teams. I got better vehicles. I got better everything.
Yeah. That always technology helps, and new motors help, and sponsors help. Right?
Yeah. And my wife standing there watching all this has taken care of me for the last 30 years, and it has really helped.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she's been to every one of my races, and
that's huge.
That's what we do.
Yeah. And she's standing there just smiling the whole time too, which is really cool. And so, that's nice.
It's wonderful.
You gotta have a
retirement. Hey, I would give it up, but like I said, socially, it's still part of my life.
Yeah.
I love going down and seeing. I mean, obviously, I know very few of I know the trophy truck drivers because some of them I've raced against for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the new ones, I really don't know.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of people at the races I still met over the years who have chased for me, all kinds of things like that.
And that Steve Henschfeld said to say hello to you. And you were the first person that he put on the Baja Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that's really nice of Steve. Yeah. Steve was one of my heroes.
Really?
Even as a motorcycle rider.
Really?
Yeah.
Super cool. I mean, obviously he's had a crazy career too, and now he's on four. He said, with age comes a cage.
With age comes a cage.
With age comes a cage. Yeah.
No, to me, it takes. I mean, like I said, I was almost 40 when I quit racing bikes, or was 40, and by then, your recovery times takes longer, and and the cage is really nice, but you still can get hurt inside that cage.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, I'm sure you got a lot more races in you, or a lot more social events coming up in the future. And I mean, it's really been amazing to sit here and hear the stories. And then, do you have any books out? You got a movie coming out anytime soon, or you got to have something? I mean,
I don't really think that's. I don't know. Really, what I've done, it doesn't seem like that big a deal to me. And I think mostly, really, just because I enjoyed it. Yeah. It was never not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind if I have a bad race, or if the truck breaks. I would never come down on any of the crew or anything. It's part of the game, but I'm not that. My life doesn't depend on whether I win the race or not. It's really more whether I enjoyed the race. And if I just put on a good show and know that I'm competitive, and if I can have a Rob McCracken come up and say, or Steve Henschfeld, or any of those guys come and say, you were doing well today. I don't need the trophy. I want that. I want that guy over there that race. I want him to say, you're doing good.
That's awesome. And that's the mentality I think a lot of people
if Rick
should take
McMillan
about
comes up and saying, hey, I thought you did well. Hey, I like that part.
Made your day better.
I like that part.
Yeah, for sure. That's so cool. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. And I think we got to have, even though you don't want to do another interview, we got to have another one at some point, or have you on a live at one of the races. Maybe Nora will get you to scoot by the Ride Baja booth, and
you just have to make me do it. I'm not going to come up and volunteer.
Well, we'll talk to your business manager over here.
Talk to my business
and have her get you in there. But again, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to Baja Uncovered. Like, share, subscribe, all those things that you do, and we will catch you soon. Make Baja great.
We're going down south, amigos. Welcome to the adventure. Yeah.